Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year's Eve. Thanks for being here. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Ben's Brick Designs. I'm Ben. Good morning, Vab. Good morning, Cliff. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you had a good holiday. Sorry I wasn't around on Thursday, just a lot going on, and I felt like Beth and I needed some time to just kind of hang out. So we just took a night, and it was nice. So, thanks for being here again. Today we're going to be doing more design work on the Rockbreaker Horizon Zero Dawn design. Flip over to that real quick, and I'll show you where we're currently at. Didn't do a whole lot the last time I was on with Johnny and Vab. I was distracted talking to them and hanging out and doing, talking about Christmas and whatnot. So hopefully we'll get a lot more going. I really want to kind of push through and get this done soon so I can focus on getting the other parts ordered. Also, I don't know if anybody saw Instagram, but I've ordered, or I've got a giant tub of bricks that I'm kind of going through. I want to get that narrowed down a little bit so I can kind of go through it and see if there's any pieces in that pile that I can pull from that's in the list, the want list for all these pieces, so I don't have to buy as much. So that sort of half sourcing the pieces from what's sorted and half pulling from a big pile of stuff is making for kind of craziness around here, but it's all good. Somebody asked on Instagram if I have a method for cleaning bulk brick like that. And I told him I didn't really worry about it in this case because all that brick was all my stuff. Like, it's just stuff I bought, displayed, occasionally dusted, took apart, put in a big bucket. So, I mean, it's not like I'm inheriting it from somebody I don't know, or, it needs to be cleaned because it came from a garage sale or something like that. So I generally don't worry about it. I have another giant box that came from my brother that I probably am not going to worry about too much either. But I might run that through just because it's been shipped and it's been in a different house and stuff like that. I may clean it. I mean, it seems fine otherwise. So, yeah, exactly. A lot of peroxide baths. Forget about it. Yeah, so before we get started with the design, I thought I'd run through. Good morning, James, by the way. Happy New Year's Eve. There is going to be a lot of sets released tomorrow. Tomorrow's release day, and there's going to be a lot. So let me know in the chat if you guys had plans on going to the Lego store tomorrow, or staying up till 11 o'clock Central Eastern, midnight Eastern to get a few sets. We'll run down some of these real quick. So if you weren't aware of some of these, if not, you can just go to sites like Brick Fanatics, or probably, what is the other one? Brothers Brick, Euro Bricks. There's a ton of sites out there that'll have a lot of this information. Real quick, I don't know that I'm going to get the art set with the birds. It seems a little kind of flat for me. It doesn't really say that it's a piece of art. Like, I don't know if anybody actually, if this was a drawing or something, or a painting somebody did. So I'm not really keen on it. Now, if they came out with something like the Kiss, Gustav Klimt piece, like they did Starry Night and like they did the Wave, I would probably do that. But this just doesn't seem like it's where I want to go. I'm probably not going to get any brick heads. The city line's coming out, and they've got a lot of new sets coming out. They generally do a bunch of city sets every 3 months or so. This time specifically, there is 7. I don't know why it's selecting all those, but it's doing 7 space sets, which I'll probably end up getting a few of these, right? I don't know exactly which ones I'm going to get, and they range in price from $10 all the way up to $130. I don't think I'm going to get anything right away. Like, I feel like these space sets will be around a little bit. City's generally not a big seller. They won't run out of these anytime soon. And a lot of these will be able to be found in like Walmarts and stuff and Targets and Amazon. So probably not going to end up with any of these classic sets. Space Planet seems kind of fun though. Not a minifig collector, but Series 25 is coming out. Here is your 3-in-1s, and the one they feature on here is the Astronaut, which looks a lot like the astronauts I built recently. I'm not going to say they got my idea or anything, because I'm sure these have been in the works forever. But if you remember, a while back, I did the baby-headed astronauts, and they were about this scale and about this size, and had a little stand to pose them on and everything. And I was kind of like, that's suspiciously whatever. This might be one I get. It'd be a good one to kind of stick up here with all the other space stuff. So, whereas the city space things, I probably won't stick up with the space stuff. That's going to be stuff for parts and whatever. Happy New Year from Portugal. It's not officially New Year's there though, right? It's like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Shopping from home. Cliff is going to be shopping from home. Yeah, so I'll probably get Space Astronaut. I don't know if I'll get the rest, any of these other ones. The roller skate, I kind of wanted to do. Flowers in a watering can, I wanted to do. Retro camera, maybe. The Peacock, maybe. Like, these are all pretty reasonably priced, so I'll have to check those out. I'm not getting any Disney sets at all. I'm not getting any Duplo. The Dream sets, I feel like the second wave of the Dream sets has kind of dropped off a little bit. Some of these kind of look fun. The hot air balloon definitely looks like one I'd get. 8 hours to be correct. Okay, so it's 5 in the afternoon, or 6 in the afternoon, 6 in the evening there. So you got a few hours to go. Yeah, the Mario plant, but the Piranha plant, I thought that was already out. I think the Piranha plant's already out, unless it's just been released early in some cases. Because I know Johnny built his Piranha plant weeks ago. So I don't think that's specifically, I don't know. We'll get down to Mario. We'll see. Friends just is going to crush it this year. There's a ton of sets. All of them look like a lot of fun. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, Cliff. I really like that you're here, keeping me company. I appreciate you coming by. Yeah, I mean, not many of us do the design stuff in studio. There's a handful. Vab does. I know Darth Designer has done some in the past. He hasn't really done anything recently with like the live stream designs. Yeah, not a lot of people do that. So I appreciate anybody who stops by and gets something out of it. Again, because I'd be doing it anyway, so it's just kind of fun to share. Again, a lot of friend sets this year. I generally don't get friend sets, but there was 1 or 2 in here that looked really good. Now I can't remember what they were. The mansion looked kind of good. The hospital looked kind of good. I may surprise myself and get a couple of those. I have to go through this list and be like, all right, what do I want to put on my list that I want and hold on to until I see them go on sale or start actually doing a price monitoring system this year instead of just getting them as they come out, because I don't really need them as they come out anymore. Zisoo, good morning. How are you? Yeah, Piranha Plant. Definitely going to get this. This may be a kind of soon purchase. And this may be one I'll build with Beth on stream if she'd like. I don't know if I'm getting the Polaroid. I feel like we've seen the Polaroid. There's a guy, Ian Schumacher. I know you've seen his stuff. He does the ones with the TV with the Wiimote crashed into it. He's been to Brick Rodeo several times, and he had a Polaroid. I don't know if this is his or not. Um, he had a Polaroid, and you took a picture, and a little picture comes out, right? A brick built picture. So I don't know if this was his idea or if he just made it and it's coincidentally one that they had, but I've seen it like in real life, and I don't know that I really want one. That said, I might get it. I don't know. We'll see. I've always been kind of like ideas has always been almost a lock for a purchase of new sets, but not the last 6 months. This whole past year, maybe it was kind of like, nah, maybe I won't get that one. And we can talk about the two judged sets that have came out later in the stream as well. Jurassic Park sets. The skull looks good. I don't think the Baby Dinosaur Rescue Center I'll get, but the skull looks kind of fun. That'd be a neat one to just kind of offhand get. Marvel stuff. I'm not really a Marvel person, so I probably won't get any of these. The X-Men jet was one that I would be interested in getting, but I mean, not for $85 for 350 pieces. That's absolutely ridiculous. That is the worst I've ever seen. Lego needs to do a lot better. By comparison, the Spider-Man Sandman Final Battle is 10 fewer pieces and it's half the cost. I mean, they look at the same things, right? They look at these two things and something doesn't add up. They're charging out the butt for that rogue figure. That's got to be it. Or maybe some special molded pieces in here or something. It just seems really, really off. I don't know why that's like that. Minecraft generally don't get. Monkey Kid don't get. They are cool sets, the Monkey Kids. I just don't get them. Ninjago, same. They always look fun. I just never end up getting any. The seasonal stuff, I like how they say seasonal, and it's always, well, I guess seasonal this time of year would be either Valentine's Day or Chinese New Year. So maybe these, I might get one or two of these. This looks like a lot of fun. The reunion celebration looks a lot of fun. A lot of good parts in here. But it says Marvel. Well, I mean, the Marvel set also has the Spider-Man is also Marvel. You know, where's the other ones up here? So you can get Rocket and Baby Groot. Let's take a look at Rocket and Baby Groot. See if it'll pull up, actually. And you get almost twice as many pieces, maybe a third more pieces, and you still haven't gotten to $80. So this is a buildable figure. It doesn't come with any minifigs, and that's the point. But if you look at Spider-Man and Sandman battle, how many figures does this come with? Let's find out. You get 1, 2, 3 minifigs. Yeah, that looks like a $35 set, maybe even less. There's a lot of dark tan in there, kind of a printed piece right there. That's kind of weird. But how many figures do you get with this? 4? Cyclops, 4. So you get one more figure. I don't think that's worth another $40. And they don't look much different. I mean, like bulk wise, they look about the same. I just don't understand. So, anywho, yeah, so that's that conundrum. Maybe it's the early survey, how much you, yeah, right. Let's see, Monkey Kid, Ninjago, seasonal, Sonic, not going to get any Sonic, Star Wars, don't know that I'm going to get any Star Wars. I don't need this Clone Trooper Battle Droid. I'm kind of upset that they've never really built an Octodroid. I forget what they call this one. It's like, it's called like an Octo something Tri-Droid. They never really gave us a good version of this. These things are huge. They're the size of buildings. And yet, so far, we've got like, I think an advent calendar had one, and then this diminutive version in a battle pack. So, I mean, it's kind of like, you guys are missing out on some Clone Wars stuff. It's pretty obvious. Don't think I'm going to get any in-store exclusives, but these are like stuff you get in store, you know. Um, Cliff is probably out of luck then if they're just in store. Good morning, Johnny. Oh, you're in Florida. Thanks for stopping by. Go back to the beach. Have a good time. Let's see. There's some Nintendo stuff or Mario stuff here. Another little Bowser with his muscle car. I probably won't get any of those. This Technic set looks really kind of neat. I'm not going to get it, but it actually looks pretty neat. The Forester also, or the Harvester looks really great too for the size. I'll pull that up real quick. I'm actually kind of happy that they're kind of leaning in a little to some farming equipment. We might be doing something similar for our next project support. And I think this, if it looks almost minifig scale. This might be something that we could get a few of these sets and include them in whatever we do. Cause it looks like you could put a minifig in there, you know, it's not out. It's got a minifig steering wheel in there. I know it's a Technic set, but you could put a person in there. So James, who else from our group is in it? That's it. Keep that in mind. By the time we actually get around to it, these sets will probably be, we can wait for them to be discounted. So there you go. I think that's it. Yeah. So there's a handful of sets in there I'd like to get. Let me know in the chat what you feel like you're going to be getting, and we'll get back to designing here. So another month of, I don't know why that's like that. Another month of featured content on Gorilla's site has come and gone. And again, I was not featured. Kind of sad. When you get people who take photos in game get featured, and the people who actually spend months and months doing creative stuff. There's some creative people in there though. Wrote some music, did some actual artwork, did some cosplay. One person made a plushie of one of the Watchers. So that's always fun to see. But at the same time, I'm like, man, I want to be there. So I want to use these pieces, but I don't exactly know how to bulk these out. You're going to get the CMFs. CMFs look cool. I didn't even see. Let's see if we can look a little closer. Oh, the other Star Wars set, the Crimson Firehawk, was a set that appears in the Young Jedi Adventures, which is I think a Star Wars Lego YouTube show, centered around the era of like the High Republic. Oh, it's not even that. Yeah, these are High Republic people, I think, supposed to be High Republic. The High Republic is this weird mix of like, they really want kids involved. So they've got a lot of comic books and adult novels and young adult novels and, cartoons and more adult stories. So that's this big mix of things. I was going to look up Lego CMF Series 25. Let's see who's in this. Watched Hereditary last night. Traumatized. Holy crap. Hereditary is just... We came out of the movie theater and we just were staring at each other going, I have no idea how to process this right now. Let's see. Can we really tell who's in this from just this? Can we zoom in on any of these pictures? Yeah. So Series 25. Looks like we've got kind of a flying monkey thing back here. We've got a noir detective. That's pretty cool. We got an Olympian. We have a kid with an eye patch and a train. We have a gamer by the look of it. We have a bodybuilder, okay, or CrossFitter, a guy in a dinosaur suit. I'm going to say a Ren Fair person because it's a dude who dressed as like a street person from Renaissance era. A goat. I'm guessing the goat's his. We've got a Black Knight Person in a mushroom hat. We've got a lady barbarian. Somebody gets a dog. Who gets a dog? Oh, the dog groomer person gets a dog. So, and that's a neat dog. It looks like a almost like a what are those called? Something wolfhounds. They're really kind of weird nosed ones. Goat and goat herder. Got it. Yeah. So yeah, if you're into minifigs, there's that. If you're not, I would think that like the roses may be a good pickup on January 1st. Maybe the astronaut or some of the space stuff. There's definitely nothing worth in Star Wars to pick up. So yeah. Um, so let's see. We're trying to bulk up this area and give it some fun looking stuff. So I think I'll do a slope. Just trying to get some stuff done so I can get this going. The Noir will make a great Inspector Gadget. That's a good call, man. It's a real good call. You need the hair. You need a piece that's hair and hat. You can't put both on there. So you'd have to figure that out. I'm in the middle of trying to finish Letterkenny. Its final season is playing currently. And they are wrapping stuff up, boy. It's a it's not sad, but it's kind of you know it's coming, and you can see all the threads that they're trying to pull together to get it all wrapped up. And I'm not gonna lie, it's one of my favorite shows. I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they did it the way they're doing it. Feel like they're kind of going out, not a high note, because I feel like I don't want to say they peaked 3 or 4 seasons ago, but the last couple of seasons haven't been real good. Letterkenny. Have you not seen Letterkenny? I don't know if you're actually kidding or if you're serious. I'll go ahead and start explaining it if you're serious and you don't know what it is. Letterkenny is a show that started off as a YouTube thing where they, for a couple minutes, they had a skit called Letterkenny Problems. And it was a town in, it's a fictional town in outside of Toronto, kind of a small rural community. And it's actually based off, it's not Sudbury. I'm trying to remember the actual town that it's kind of based off of. But it centers around 3 groups of people: the Hicks, the Skids, which are like meth heads, and the hockey players, right? Really losing my voice here. The and then like just kind of stuff that happens. There's some other side characters that make it interesting to watch. I like that better. We can push this back. So it's funny. So then it moved from YouTube to it actually got it moved to Crave, which then got picked up by Hulu. So now it's on Hulu. It also spawned a show called Shorzy, which was a side character on Letterkenny, played by the same actor. There's a guy named Wayne who's played by Jared Kesso, which is show creator, and he also plays Shorzy, who is the main character of the Shorzy show. It's also created by him. Really? You thought Rebel Moon was good? Okay. I mean, I'm not going to accuse. Fine. If you liked it. I I don't know. I was so bored. I was so bored. Like I didn't care about any of the characters and all the slow motion was really taking me out of it and I didn't know anything about anybody really. Like the one interesting character they killed off early, I felt, and I'm like, well, now I really don't care. But like I said, if you liked it, you liked it. I'm not going to judge or anything. Although my voice was, you liked that? Sorry about that. Yeah, I thought it was really kind of it had some good ideas, but it felt like it really missed the mark on a lot of stuff for me. So it was kind of hard to. There's a lot of things that, especially sci-fi action anymore, I feel like just so unbelievable. Like I get that I'm supposed to suspend some disbelief, but the amount of disbelief they were asking me to suspend this time around was just I couldn't. See, I went in with really good like I had high expectations. Like I was really looking forward to it. I was like, this I saw the trailer. I'm like, Zack Snyder is kind of hit and miss, but I liked a few things he's done. I was like, this looks like 300 in space, right? It could be a lot of fun. Main character was just boring to watch. All the side, I know it was trying to be like a Seven Samurai kind of thing feel, but I didn't care about anybody. I really didn't. Did I decide I wanted this to twist? That's gonna twist. I don't think I'm gonna make it twist again until the tail. So let's just extend this as far as we can. Let's put a couple big old bricks in it. Oh, okay. I think James and I have absolutely 100% different tastes. Because I really liked Everything Everywhere All at Once, like all the way through. I didn't have any problems with it. What else? I watched all of What If this last because it was 9 episodes dropped over 9 days. And that was a lot of fun. Some good stuff in that. But again, that's like you can kind of do whatever you want. How come this doesn't have the price anymore? Oh, there we go. Yeah, let's do what's cheap? Lavender's cheap. Medium lavender's cheap. Why is all that so cheap? Tan. Let's do tan. That's a good cheap color. And I probably have some of that. Get the Brick. Hello. Thanks for being here. We are talking about shows that we've watched recently over the break, over the holidays. Rebel Moon, Letterkenny, What If. Oh, yeah, we went and saw Poor Things. I know we've talked about this before, but if you haven't seen Poor Things, I would highly recommend that. Actually, let's do these in case they show up. Anyway, let's do these in dark gray. Happy New Year's Eve to you. Get the brick. Okay, these are going to be... So this is going to have to hold up a couple things. This is going to have to start holding up this guy. And off this guy comes two of these things. So let's go ahead and anchor this. So we need a... let's do a plate in here. Oh, it was so good. Poor Things was so good. And what I liked about it was there's a lot of it that it was really good, sort of like 1800 science fiction. Like it was very much a Mary Shelley Frankenstein kind of thing where you're like, ooh, I don't know if I liked that. You know, it explores a lot of things, not just, a lot of human condition kind of things. Like what happened? It was literally like, what if? It's like a what if? What if this guy did this, Oh, Defoe's fantastic in it. He has a Scottish brogue that breaks a little into what almost sounds German, but for the most part, it's very good. And he has one line towards the end that is just, I want it on a shirt. Uh, I don't want to say what it is because it kind of gives away what's happening to him during the movie, but you'll know it when you hear it because it's like one of his last lines. Um, as the movie kind of gets to its end. And I was like, God, I want that on a shirt. That's so good. Let's see. Let's put 2, and then we'll do a couple jumpers. How are we going to jumper that one? That's going to be... probably the easiest. I want to be secure, so let's do... I have to move this. This is gonna mess this up a little bit, but let's just get rid of this for now. Oh, I wanted to watch The Creator. Is it good? I saw that it just hit Apple TV, and I asked Beth. I'm like, because Beth will be able to get me to watch something she's interested in: true crime, horror, some British thing. But every time I see a good sci-fi, I'm like, do you want to watch this? She's like, no, I've noticed. And I'm like, come on, man. Like, I almost watched Mapplethorpe with her. And I'm like, I'm interested because I'm interested in Mapplethorpe as the artist, as the photographer. It also had Matt Smith in it. So I'm like, yeah, I'll give that a shot. Not in the mood right now. She went ahead and watched it. But then I saw The Creator hit Apple TV. I'm like, do you want to watch The Creator? She's like, what is it? I'm like, it's John, whatever his name is. John something Washington. And I was like, and it looks like a cyborg kid with some powers that help create stuff that he's on the run. And she's like, no. Like, all right, well, I tried. I'm trying to get her to watch the first Dune so that when the second part comes out, she can go with us to watch it. But she's like, I don't have any desire to see that whatsoever. The Creator was in theaters over the summer, and I heard it got kind of like meh reviews, but I think to me it looks pretty. Of course, I thought Rebel Moon looked good, but yeah, I guess it's hit Apple TV now, and you can check it out. All right, so this is gonna sit right here. Should, right? But it's gonna conflict a little, so let's... I don't know how to make this work. It's one of those things where it should work. Oh, it's gonna overlap. So that sits just fine. That's gonna overlap. So I'm gonna put these so I know how many chains to get. I'm gonna change the angles of these because I feel like this many chains will lay in a good, like it'll collapse and stuff, and I may need to raise this up a little bit. But I think that'll be a fine, and I'll adjust this in real time if it needs to be, but Scavenger's Reign. I cannot talk about Scavenger's Reign so much, or I can't talk about that show enough. Yeah, now that I have watched Scavenger's Reign, I don't know that I need it for anything other than, I think about all the shows I'm watching, and there's like one show on every streaming service that I'm really watching, and I'm trying to get rid of some of it, but I'm like, well, Paramount, I'm watching all the Star Treks. Peacock's the only one. I started Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but I don't need to finish that. I'm not really watching anything else. Brett's Builds, hello. Apple TV, I'm watching Monarch, and which is terrible, and For All Mankind, which is really good. Disney, I'm watching everything. Star Wars stuff and Marvel stuff and whatever. So these all need to be like black. Let's do black for now. But yeah, I'm like constantly running into things where I'm like, well, could I keep that? Let's do black for these, and we'll do gray for that, and then vary it a little bit. And we'll throw some different things in here. Yeah, so Scavenger's Reign is, I know it's the plot's a little thin, because it's just like people kind of progressing through a very interesting. I don't think I want these guys. I think I need something a little more robust in here. Also, I can put. No, I just want to keep that the way it is. I know these are going to have weird sections in here where you can see in here and stuff, but I'm like, I don't know how else to do that. Anyway. Yeah, it's fantastic. I really, really enjoy it. Let's try. It definitely built one of the most unique world building exercises I've ever seen. Like, and I love how it started off with kind of this feeling that the people who are stranded there were stranded there long enough to kind of figure a few things out. Like, they instantly knew, well, these plants did this when you did certain things to them, and these animals responded to these plants differently, and these plants responded to these animals differently. Like, I don't think they were there that long, maybe a month before. But I mean, smart people to be able to do all that. I guess that's why they were colonizers or terraformers or whatever. It's so good. So get the brick and Brett's builds and Zissou. I think we talked about this a little before you guys got on, but tomorrow's January 1st. Do you have plans to get any January 1st buys? Any new stuff you're looking to get? You're interested in getting? You're excited to get? Curve slope. Old sci-fi, but I'm digging Dances with Wolves from HBO. Shame there's only 2 seasons. There was a Dances with Wolves show? Interesting. I don't know that I want that. Maybe that's too big. This is kind of cool. I could get a couple of these pieces in here. It's kind of nice. It'll give us a little bit of room to go up and down, and definitely room to twist. That's pretty good. What color do we want that? Let's leave it white. Let's make these light gray. Okay. Never been to a Lego store. Do I do vintage more than new? Okay, cool. Yeah, there's a handful of people on YouTube that I follow that do that. They're like, I don't buy new sets. Lady called, her channel's called For Bricks and Giggles. That's all she does. And it's because she has limited room where she lives. And she like puts something together long enough to make a video for it, kind of show it off, do a build video kind of thing, and then it gets packed up and moved out, and so it's all like classic space, classic castles, that kind of thing. Some Star Wars. I think I'm going online today, but like a few of the newer sets, Family Traditions looks nice. Yeah, it does. Nice big kind of almost modular feel, a lot of new pieces in it. That's cool. Yeah, Stacy. I'm surprised. Like, I know that like vintage bricks aren't as big as or in classic bricks aren't as big as like, hey, the new brand new kind of thing. But I'm constantly shocked how sometimes I don't think she's getting the views she deserves, but it's just me. Those slopes were fine, but they were kind of boring. Let's look at, is there modified slopes, wedges, something that's a little more, oh, these are good pieces. I should have been using these. Can I replace that? Not too many. Does it look like up top? I can't really tell. That actually works pretty well. And then I can do a curve slope. Yeah, I need to do, I need to start doing the, why did that not, I thought it worked. That chain link is in there. Yeah. I don't want to have to worry about all this chain link stuff, so maybe I just hide all of them for now. Just for now. Until I get this sorted. I don't like that any better. That's actually too big. This maybe, whoops. This may be a little more interesting. Let's show all now that we've got that out of the way. I have a Target gift card, so I'll buy CMF 6-packs at some point. Nothing else in January unless there's some good clearance. I need to start with the, okay, starting now, keep a spreadsheet of like, these are the sets I want. And I don't mind getting them at certain times, like if I've got a little extra, but from now on, have a price checker up and just make sure if it dips below 20, 30% at some point, then pick it up. You know, don't be wasteful. Can I do a plate 4x4? I think I'm getting a little too fancy in here, but that's what the fun is, right? So I feel I'm getting to the point where I don't need to get things day one anymore. I'd like to because I like getting the sets and building them, but I don't think I need them like instantly anymore. Let's do curve slope. It's too much. Ooh, that's a newish piece. I haven't seen this piece before. Interesting. Not going to use it now, but look at that. Slope curve 4x1 by 1 2/3. Comes in white. Interesting. Yeah, that's pretty good. Actually, what I could do, let's get back up here and do, it looks like curve slope. We bought a $15 octoscope, which connects to the phone to peek into, oh, you did. Ah, I saw somebody doing that. That's neat. Look under the new part drop down. Oh. Hey, I forgot about that. Oh, man. Vab with the with the tips and techniques. All right, that's cool. That's actually really cool. Yeah, here's that big old slope that we just got. What was I building? I think there are a couple in the Concord. The Ghost. That's where I saw these. Got them in the Ghost. Single bracket. Oh man, I wish I knew this was in existence a while ago. That's a really cool piece. Let's see. Kind of a skate looking thing. It's a technique or a Technic piece. Oh yeah, I get it. All right. Changeover catch. Cool. That could be used for a lot of different things. What colors does that come in? Orange. Ooh. I see a lot of orange in here. Might be useful. Some Technic stuff. These aren't new. These can't be new. I mean, maybe the color's new. Maybe the white base with that, like lavender. Maybe those are all new. Carrots. Turkey drumstick. Spool. Pneumatic. Oh my goodness. Wow. Well, that's an actual pneumatic pump. And it looks like there's tubing that goes in here. Interesting. That's a huge piece. Base plate. Interesting sloped base plate. Comes in tan. Ooh, I could use that. Could use that for my Horizon Zero Dawn stuff. Looks like we got Friend's Cat. And then Friend's Cat with print. It's probably two different cats. So let's see. White and no face by the looks of it. But this one, also white, but it gets a little print on it. Yeah, some of these, like those hinges, I'm like, that's not a new piece. Maybe, well, new to the software. Maybe not new to, like some of these may be actually new pieces, but they're also new. They're newly imported into the software, so they may have been around for a while. Some Ninjago things, the arms with the bands on them. That's cool. What color do those come in? Because I could use those for stuff. Yeah, neat. Minifigure shield with a dot in the front. You can put something on it. And then an electric box, which, yeah, I think is not new. I think it's just a newly added. Pretty cool. Thanks for that, Vab. Appreciate that. So let's see. Where were we? Slope curved. Yeah, the technique for getting those... the minifigs, the one you want, that's pretty cool. Do I want to do that? Or... I need to recenter that. Nope, just needs to be straight. Almost straight across after that. I think this whole thing needs to be kind of raised up a little bit. So let's do a little bit... That works. Tile. Okay. All right, and then this, I'll just, let's see. This we can put that one weird slope in it again. I am the great distraction. Let's see what else is going on. Anybody got any plans for tonight? Any New Year's Eve plans? I know we've got some friends, one of whom has a birthday today. So they have we have two friends whose birthdays are the 31st. So they have parties today. Or one of them does. The other one is in or was in Austria for a little bit. It's on vacation. All right, doing well. I like that. Looks good. Looks kind of the same as that. I'm guessing. That has a lot of extra stuff on it now that I'm looking at it. What is all that? That looks like it may be oh no, that's the underside of that. Okay. I get it. Kind of flares out a little bit. Ah, that's fine. I'm all right with that. Missy, hello. How are you? Happy holidays. Happy New Year's Eve. We were talking about what things you might be getting. Not you specifically. We were all waiting for you to get here, and thank you for being here. We're talking about things you might be picking up for the January 1st releases, if anything. So these are going to be... Have I lined this up correctly? It's a little off, but I think it'll be all right. I almost feel like these could be closer. Nah, that's good. Let's just leave it as is. And instead of that, I will do plate clip. There's a 1x3 plate clip. That would be perfect if those clips were pointed the other way. And they're not. Not sure. Several sets look good. It's what Lego likes to hear. So let's just do... This is a tile clip. So this is tile modified tile. And these are the newer ones. We'll do that. And that. And these need to be at least black or dark gray. That's going to be black. Black. And I need tiles in here. Let's make those dark gray. All right, these need to be what? 1 brick wide. These are gonna be kind of weird. My kids have been watching Young Sheldon for the last week. They're on season 5 now, so 20 more episodes of the lame jokes remaining. Yeah, Beth and I sit and watch our own stuff. We sit on the couch and one person has headphones and one person doesn't. And she's currently watching Glee. So I get to hear all of my favorite songs turned into Glee Club songs. And then I usually am watching I'm trying to watch new things. She watches new things every once in a while, but the repeat shows for us are usually I just watch Star Trek. Those are my like background. I just need something on kind of things. And then she will cycle through Friends and what's the other one? Right now it's Glee. Big Bang Theory. She did that for a little bit. Young Sheldon. And then And then every once in a while she'll go back to like a Road Rules or The Real World or something. So I think I can do, I don't want to get too thick with this, but no worries, Cliff. You're welcome here anytime in whatever capacity. Let's see. Maybe round plates. And then what do I want on the end of those things? It's hard to tell from these angles what's kind of on the end of them. When in doubt, look up utensils. See if there's anything fun that can be used. Haha. I knew I was looking for something specific. Maybe. We'll try that. Let's see what else is available. There's a lot of shows that I really want to start. I started watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine based off the recommendations from everybody, even though I don't like shows like The Office or Parks and Rec. So they're like, you should do Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I'm like, is it like The Office or Parks and Rec? And they're like, kind of. I'm like, then I don't want to. That kind of works. I need something else here. Let's go back to utensils. See if... Never watched Always Sunny either. I tried and I hated every character on it. Like I was like, nobody on here is a good person. Like, why am I rooting for any of these people? Oh, this would be great. I wonder if I can do that somehow. There's clips of it I liked. Like I watched a couple clips and I thought it was funny, but I tried watching a couple whole episodes and I couldn't. But I like, for some reason, I like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I think it's like I would watch more of it. Yeah, I realize that the whole point of the show is of Always Sunny is that they're all terrible people. I almost didn't watch Fleabag because of it. We watched one episode of Fleabag, and the main character, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, his character, I was like, I don't like her at all. She's not. There's nothing redeeming about her. Like I hope nothing good happens to her, kind of thing, right? And then I was like, maybe that's the point. So we pushed. It was like, I don't like anybody in this show. They're all terrible, especially the main character. She's awful. Let's watch a second episode, you know? So we gave it a second episode, and I was like, all right, we have to watch this entire season like tonight. So we gave it a shot. It was pretty good. I don't want to keep using... That's pretty good, maybe. Oh, that's even better. Is there... Yeah. Why don't I just repeat this? Yeah, that's good. And we'll color it yellow. Are there yellow ones? No. Bright light orange. Needs to be yellow, man. Balls. Parks and Recs is actually like, there's bits that are funny. I can't do, for whatever reason, I can't do a full, like if I watch more than a couple episodes, I get a little twitchy. But it's fine. It's a lot less uncomfortable than The Office. I just can't do uncomfortable. I don't know. I don't know why I can't do uncomfortable. I think these guys come in yellow. I need it to be... You know what? I just realized something. Hey, we like what we like. We don't what we don't. If everyone liked the same thing, the world would be boring. That's true. Cliff, you're boring. Your face is boring. Well, they've included that piece now. I think we saw that already. This guy. So that's fun. The League. Yeah, I started the League. It was fine. I think I was just kind of like, yeah. There it is. Oh, 5L. That's a little too... I think that's too long. Yeah, that's a little long. Oops. Don't want to delete that at all. You know what? This is fine. Just need a little something for the end here. Because this all needs to be... What color is this? These are all weird colors. Like there's tan, there's dark gray. That looks like it's white. That's dark gray. Let's do a... It's going to be a pearl. Dark gray or flat silver. That's going to be dark gray. That's going to be black. That's going to be dark gray. And that's going to be dark gray. And I need something yellow in here, man. All right. So, let's do something simple. Let's do the modified plate that has the fishing reel in it, because I think this will be pretty easy to get, and it comes in yellow. All right, let's do that. Cool. Works for me. All right, save. All right, where are we? What time is it? A little after 11. Just realized I started playing Horizon Zero Dawn at the beginning of Christmas break. I never launched it after that first day and went back to my normal base builders, city builders. Yep. It's fun. Somebody posted the other day that they, on Reddit, they were newly into the game and kind of giving their impression of it being, you know, I don't understand what this is, but I'm loving it. And I got to my first cauldron, which was really weird because you just get used to the fact that you're playing in this sort of primitive but post-apocalyptic thing, and you're using bows and arrows and spears, and then there's these robot machines, animals around you all the time, and so you finally get kind of a lock on that, and then suddenly you stumble into this cave that's all machine, right? And you're like, well, wait a minute, what, and it's a big part of the game. And so that kind of opens the lore up a little bit, And I'm like, yeah, I wish I could play with that sort of mentality again of like, what is this? What's happening in this world? Um, I got, and everybody in the Reddit was like, we are all very jealous of your experience right now. Because a lot of us say, I wish I could go back to be able to play this game again for the first time. Let's do. There is definitely a love for the game. Yeah, it's about fantasy football stuff, like James said, but it's really irreverent. It's a lot more irreverent than you might think, which I think is part of the draw. Let's do that color. Let's do. Let's see. Don't like that. I like brackets to some extent, but I don't like the fact that it leaves like gaps where there shouldn't be gaps. So let's do 4 bricks. How far in there can we go? I guess that far. Let's change this to another 4x plate, which means we can use like a full 8x8 plate. Or 4x8 plate. 4x8. 4x8. In that color. Boop. Yeah, I mean, I'm not super into politics, but The West Wing was one of my favorite shows because at a time I kind of wanted to be in politics. So it was like kind of wish fulfillment a little bit, but it's still a very good show. You don't have to know a lot of politics to understand the drama in between the characters. Maybe 3. Don't even really need that. Yeah, don't need that at all. What is that? 2x3. We could make that a brick. Brick. That's the kind of the best shows, the ones that take that don't really require you to have a knowledge of whatever is going on. Just enough to get you kind of in the door. And then it's just about the character development of the show and the people in it. There's another show with the guy from Always Sunny and Danny Pudi and I'm trying to think of what else. The game developer show. May just be called Developers. I forget what it's called, but we tried giving that a shot, and that was fine. It got old really fast. So we didn't give it much more of a shot, but that's the kind of, thing where it's like, well, you don't need to be game developer to appreciate like, oh, it's that character. Oh, it's that character, that kind of thing. Epic Quest. Yeah, you're right. It was something like that. These are gray. Mythic Quest. Thank you. And like I really wanted to like it, but there was something kind of it felt a little flat for me. But cents. I'm going to use them here. Jumper. Is that going to conflict? It might. Yeah, it definitely will. Shoot, that was going to be perfect. So now what we need is a 1x4 tile with 3 jumpers on it. That's what we need. Make it happen. Can this go the other way? Oh, it can just. Uh, 1x3 rounded jumpers. Oh, the 1x3 round tiles with a jumper in the middle of it? That'd be pretty amazing. These are going to be cheaper black, I think, than they are dark bluish gray. 9 cents versus... Oh, 11 cents. Never mind. Gray it is. Oh, with rounded corners? Yeah. This with rounded corners. We need more rounded corners, period. So you can kind of move things against other bricks. It does, but the guild. That's another one Beth rewatched recently, and it's not that it doesn't hold up, but at the same time, it was kind of like, ugh. Tile 1x2 tile. I could probably find this. It's not my favorite. Ooh. Those actually look a little cooler. Let's do these instead. How much are white boomerangs? 23 cents versus price updating. Well, that doesn't help. Yeah, that conflicts too much. Although, like, it just conflicts. Although, I wish sometimes that the orientation would stay once you've made the orientation a certain way. Like once it's, I think you can lock a piece. Can I lock it? Yeah, you should be able to lock it, but for whatever reason, this doesn't let me lock it. That doesn't work. The guild was a lot of fun. Where's my undo? What happened to my history? Thank you. Croissant. Croissant. Oh, that doesn't have a good... I thought that had a... I think it still does. That's funny. Kind of want to keep a croissant in there. I think that's funny. Yeah, the guild was, when it came out, it was hilarious. I loved it. Watched it again recently, and it was kind of a little older feel to it, but it was fun nonetheless. Um, I think the actual thing I should be doing is this. And I still need a plate round in there. I just liked the idea of the super nerdy cast and kind of the real world stuff that they were in, and oh, that doesn't fit. I thought that would work. And I liked all the characters. I think Blaze was probably my least favorite character. Of course, that doesn't fit. What if we did this? And I also wasn't a huge fan of the mom, Clara, I think. Or a tutorial. Yo, Brett. Or a tutorial. I don't know what you mean, Cliff. Nothing is working quite the way I want it to here. Mm-hmm. What would you like a tutorial on, Cliff? Comment disappeared. Uh-oh. She was a terrible person. This will work. This will work just fine for now. They make those half rounds with a stud on them as they do, yeah, but I don't need anything on top of it. I just need something smaller than that. What I'd like is to maybe, I think, get rid of the jumper part of this. Oops. I want to get rid of that. So these are more flush. That's better. Okay, will that fit? No. This is perfect. Just leave it like that. Good, good, good. So it's more flush. Okay. Simple, simple, simple. Let's keep it simple. Everything else about this is so complicated right now that I kind of want to keep everything a little more simple than I've been doing it, just so I can get through this. Maybe how to use the program that you're designing on for me that don't know how to use Studio. Well, if you have questions, we've got a little time. I don't mind going through a bit of a primer. The last half hour. I know that we did this. Ooh, I totally smacked the mic. Sorry about that. Ruined everybody's ears. We did this a couple months ago. It does. It's like a squiggly thing. Like I'm not really like robot arms, maybe even. Yeah. I wonder if I could stick arms in there. Anyway, a couple months ago, Vab and Johnny and I started this, and Kodiak started this, where Vab and I were fairly proficient with Studio. And so was Kodiak. And Johnny had really no idea. He'd never used it before, but he kind of wanted to. He wanted to learn how to do some of the stuff because he's like, sometimes I'm limited by space and I don't have a set, or I want to be able to do some things. And so we kind of started with this idea of doing like a Thursday technique day or Thursday studio day. And that morphed into a bunch of different things. Like we were doing contests and weird things like that. But the idea was like every Thursday we would come and share like a technique we'd learned or something in studio, so we could share that with everybody. Like one week, even we learned about the hush technique right here, which is the half of this universal joint. You take one half of it off, you leave the spindle in there, and it clips onto one of these chains, right? So that's kind of a technique that you may not realize, but that it works, but in real life it really works. But for the basics, I'll run through the basics real quick. It's no problem. I kind of like a little review every once in a while, and Vab can jump in if he thinks I'm missing something. So real quick, I know you know Studio. You're obviously watching it a little bit, but let's say you're starting anew, and you basically get this flat space. This is your build area, right? Over here, you've got your palette of bricks. This is called your palette, and you can change how you view your palette, right? So for the most part, this is going to be populated by BrickLink's database of parts. Now, it's not every part. The software does not have a lot of minifig torsos or modified heads or anything like that. Spiro Agnew? What about Spiro Agnew? Did I say Spiro Agnew? Anyway, there are going to be a lot of pieces that aren't in here that exist. They may be retired old pieces. They may be ones that they haven't added to the database yet. There's a lot of minifig torsos, modified head pieces, things like that aren't in here. Anew. If you're looking at it, a Spiro Agnew. But for the most part, a lot of the basic pieces are in here, and it's basic drag and drop. So you find a piece that you like over here, and you can scroll down from the very top, which is bricks, and then it goes by category down into different plates, tiles, slopes, panels, cylinders, Technic pieces, and then a little more specialized pieces down here. So you can scroll through the categories, and it says shapes up here. It also says BrickLink categories, and this is kind of where you can, you can kind of break it up even further, or a different way to look at it. If you wanted Star Wars, or if you wanted minifig, or you wanted certain kind of types of parts, and you know what they are based off Bricklink, you can look in here. I like shapes just because that's kind of how I think of everything. You can also type in, if you know the name of a part, like you want a jumper plate, you can type in jumper and it'll bring up everything that's considered a jumper plate, right? Or jumper tile. Either of those will work, and you can find the piece you need and drag it out here. Once you have a piece out here, you can color it something different by coming over to your palette, which is on... I have to move this a little bit, which is over here. Your color palette exists over here, right? Now, if you click on right underneath it, it'll bring up whatever available colors. Let's get a more specialized piece so you can kind of see. Tile, let's get these new pill tiles, let's say, right? These only exist in, I think, like 5 or 6 colors, like nougat, white, maybe gray. With this filter on here, if it's highlighted, it will only show you the colors that are available for that piece, which is good if you're building or if you're designing something you later want to build. There are people who will design with the express intent of only having it be a digital design. And so it doesn't matter to them if the piece exists in that color or not. So you can turn that off and it'll show, you can turn the filters off and it will show every color that's available. So whether this part exists in the real world or not, you can color it blue and it'll show up in blue here. And you can see over on this side where the piece exists in sort of your step of how the model is being built, there's an exclamation point right there. That means it doesn't exist. That's a way you can tell. I like making sure that everything is available, so I'll turn that on. So you can see that this piece only exists in these colors. There's also a bit of a guide here with dollar signs to tell you which are more expensive. That really... I don't know where they pull that data, since Bricklink has a lot of pricing data, average sale of the last 6 months of certain quantities of certain locations. So, I mean, it's a good guide, but you can always check on Bricklink for that part later as well. So that's how you're able to get a piece out here and color it a certain way. There's some functions up here at the top. You've got select, and this will select, you can change this by hitting your drop down, or also hitting Shift V will also change your selection. The selections are default, which is your, just your arrow. You can pick a piece. You can also select by color, by type and color, or by what's connected to it. You can also invert a selection. So if I have all but one piece selected here, and I want to select the invert, it'll select everything that's not been selected. And you can edit preferences and go to your shortcuts and change all that. So if you come in here and do preferences, there's general. This will give you sort of a layout of how everything looks, right? Your appearance, you change your background to something else. This starts off as kind of a gray, I think, when it starts off. Something like that. I don't want to change it though. I liked my purple. And then shortcuts. So you can have you how you control your cursor, your brick control. You can set whatever keystrokes you want in here. Some keystrokes that are by default, because I've not changed any of those really. If you select a brick, you can use your arrow keys to move it within the space. I'm sorry, you can use your WASD keys to move it within the space, right? Based on your view. So if I'm looking down on it, WSAD. If I'm looking at it side on, it'll go up and down instead of side to side in space, kind of thing. So it really depends on how you're looking at it. And then your arrow keys will rotate it in space. So rotate it that way, rotate it that way, right? It'll do whatever function you need it to based on your orientation, how you're looking at it, right? So if I turn it this way, it's going to my up arrow is going to do this. If I turn it this way, my up arrow is going to do this, right? It's going to flip it that way, or it's going to flip it this way, depending on how you're looking at it. Your bricks will snap to themselves. So if it gets near another brick, it will snap to that opening there will snap to that stud. You can turn that off. There's a snap function up here, right? And it will also snap to the grid as well. You can turn the grid off. You hit Control B and it'll turn it off. There's nothing for that brick to snap to. It will float. As soon as you turn the grid back on, I like to call it the floor, the build floor, but grid is good too. It will snap to whatever these pieces are. The snapping is great. It allows you to build without really trying to line everything up, but you can turn snap off and it won't snap to a brick. So you really have to line things up for it to work, right? If you see a piece go translucent like that, it's kind of hard to do it now for some reason. It's kind of wanting to jump around on me. So when it goes translucent, that means it's a collision. That means it won't go together like that. Something's in its way. You can turn that off. So if you've got a build that you know will work, like you've built it in real life, and maybe there's a bit of give, there's a tolerance with a clip in a bar or a tube or something where you've got it bent just right and you've built it and you have it in your hand, you know it works. You don't want to see that collision. You can turn collision off. So let's say I rotate this and I know that build works in real life. I don't want to see it in here. You can turn collision off. You can kind of see where it may not work. Sometimes it'll like bump into another piece, but I usually try to keep it on. For larger models, if you're getting up into the tens of thousands of pieces, collision and snap do take up some memory. So you can turn that off to save memory and your performance would be a little better. Just to keep that in mind for larger builds. Let's see. Hinge. Let's say you've got a hinge. I'm going through the top ribbons here. You've got two pieces that are hinge pieces. Hinge pieces generally, the hinge function doesn't necessarily mean for hinge. It just means rotate it in space against another piece, right? Or by itself, actually, now that I think about it. If you hit H, it gives you these arrows, right? And you can rotate it this way. If you don't want to use because your arrow keys will also work, right? To rotate the piece. But let's say you've got a ton of these pieces attached and you want this piece to hinge, right? So what you do is you select that hinge piece, hit H, and now it'll select everything that it's connected to, and you can hit that arrow, and you can either drag this arrow, you can drag this red line to make it whatever thing you want. You can also type in the degrees you want. Or you can also, and let me get back out so you can see, you can also use your arrow keys. So if I hit my arrow key, it's going to automatically do like 45 degrees each way. Or if you hold shift and do an arrow key, it does 5 degrees. So you can kind of do this, right? So there's multiple ways to get that to move. Sometimes you will run into, and this is kind of a later thing. Sometimes if you've built a bunch of stuff up here and it's attached to something you want to move later, sometimes that group may not see that it's all attached to that one hinged point, right? So you may have to like rebuild it to make sure, because you'll hit that one thing that needs to be moved and you think it's gonna grab all the rest of everything that's attached to it, only grabs some pieces. That's just something you kind of have to learn and play with as you go along. But again, that hinge thing doesn't always mean just hinge pieces. If I put this up here and hit H, I can still rotate this piece around that focal point that it's attached to, versus using the arrow keys to turn it around a central point. That's what hinge means. Clone is just a copy feature. If I have the clone thing selected, every time I click, it will create a new button, or it'll create a new piece. Yeah, we'll get to the grid in a second. I want to show them the function things over here real quick. The grid one's kind of important, and I use it a lot. Control Z undoes just like everything else. Control Shift Z will redo all your undos. Some programs have Control Y that will do that. This doesn't do that. You have to do Control Shift Z to redo your undo. No, that's fine. So we did clone, hide. C also does clone. You can see it changing the cursor. So if you hit C, it turns into a cursor, changes to a clone. If you hit V, it'll change back to a regular cursor. If you hold Shift and V, that's where you can also change it to select all the part types in color, that kind of thing. Same as we saw with the select up here. So I want to get back to my regular V. Let's see if I do. Yeah. So if I'm on a weird cursor and I just hit V, it'll go back to the default. Your hide, you can select, so you can drag, and I don't know if you can see that box on there, but you can drag a bounding box or a binding box around a group of pieces like that to select them. You can select a handful of pieces. You can hit Control A to select all pieces. If you select a few pieces and you just don't want to look at them because you want to build something behind it, you just want to get them out of your way, you can do hide. You can either click on hide and it will hide those pieces, or you can highlight those pieces and hit L, and L will hide those pieces. Notice that the cursor has a little eyeball with a slash through it. That means the hide function is still in effect, which means the next piece you click on will also hide. You can get out of that by hitting your V again to get your regular cursor. Up here in the corner, you can see now 5 items are hidden. When you're done doing whatever extra work you need to, you can say show all. It'll bring all of them back. There's a limitation to like, I hit a group of pieces, then I hit another group of pieces, then I hit another group of pieces. Like if you hide this, and then this, and then this, I think Z, Control Z will unhide them in order, but there's no function that will unhide them specifically. You can either unhide them all or just Control Z out of it. Connect is a fun feature that I wish I had a long time ago. It helps when you're doing really big connections to things. Copy and paste, Control C, Control V, same as like Word and stuff. If you want to, sometimes the program will kind of bounce around. You can't really tell with these simple pieces, but it'll bounce around trying to connect one thing to another. And it, especially when you're like working underneath something, it likes putting stuff on top and usually like kind of far back, right? So whatever is farthest back and on top, it's going to try to connect to that first. The most visible, the most likely connections, it's going to try to do that first. You unhide selectively using the steps. You can do that too. Yeah, you can come over here and you can hide with the, there's a little, I'm going to get this color thing out of the way now that we saw that. I'm going to put this right here so you can kind of see the build area still. You can come over to your step area and you can hit hide here too. So you can come over here and click an eyeball and hide pieces this way too. And you can come over here and show all. If you have a big group of things or just a single piece and you're having a hard time making it connect to another piece because it's jumping around and trying to connect to a lot of other things, and it'll do that, there's a connect button or the connect function that you can hit. You say connect and it'll give you this sort of it looks like a trophy stand kind of thing, but you can come over here and highlight a piece and it'll give you all its connecting points, all these little dots. And let's say you want this piece to sit on this piece, but off on one stud. So this is where you'd select it because it's the underside piece here. And then it'll draw a line to where you want it to connect. And it'll just jump right there. Very, very useful function for very big like submodels. When you've got a big submodel that you're trying to jam onto another submodel and it's doing this kind of thing and it's not really lining up where you want to go. Did collision, snap, grid is how the piece moves against a grid. So if I have a piece here and I'm moving it with the WASD keys, right? There are 3 levels of grid. There's coarse, mid, and then fine, right? So on coarse, I think it goes by half a stud each time. Or no, full stud. Okay. Thought it was half a stud. Mid is half a stud. So you can see it moves half a stud back and forth. Fine, I think, is 5. Okay, so it's 10 to get half, and it's 20 to get a full grid. So it's very fine movement. And I think that also accounts for rotation. I always hit that instead. Let me see if that works for the same thing. I don't know if grid works the same for rotating stuff, but let's find out. I think it does. So if I click on this and do, because we're on fine grain right now and it does every 5. If I switch this to coarse, no, it's still 5. You can see how it, on coarse, how it kind of snaps to where the grid is when I'm moving it around. If you switch that to fine, well, I thought it did. I thought it slid a little better in space, but I guess it's just movement. So there's that. That's your grid. Render is a whole thing unto itself. Render basically renders it. You get a bunch of options. Photoreal, POV. You can do some animation. It's not a great animation tool. And when you do animations in this tool, it doesn't tween stuff. It doesn't take like a starting keyframe and an end keyframe and then mathematically tween it. It doesn't like figure out the space in between it. It has to render each frame of the animation. So if you've got a small model, like I did one drop down spinning build thing of a microfighter, and it took like 20 hours to render. It was ridiculous. So that takes a long time to do. Depending on your graphics card, you can do a render, depending on the model size, anywhere from a half hour to several hours. Depending on what your settings are in here, you can add dust, you can add scratches, you can add different light sources. Vab does a lot more rendering than I do, and he has a greater understanding about it. But yeah, you can set up multiple renders. Like if you've got a bunch of different models that you want to do, you can drop them all in here and do a queue and walk away, and hopefully your computer doesn't crash. You can get them all rendered over a weekend or something. Instructions, or wait, let's do stability. I don't really use stability all that much, but this just tells you if something's built right? If it's got any, that's hard to see in here. Let's go to this guy and do stability. This is going to tell me that it's got a stability issue, and that's mainly because it can't stand on its own right here. It also has like clutch power issues. It'll say, well, this clutch power is all right. These aren't going to be great. These may have clutch power issues because there's not enough things holding it in place, or it might fall apart if you don't like shore it up, that kind of thing. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks. So that's stability. Instructions is its own thing, and I've done several videos on that. You can usually do charger or strider. You'll have to set up in order to get instructions made, you have to build with steps in mind. So you have to make sure that you've kind of started where you would start building and then kind of make a new step and put in new pieces. And then the instruction maker will start by giving you the same steps, and then you go into page design. So there's a whole different, that's a whole different way of building. Once I usually try to build just to get it built, and then I'll go back and create steps on how to build it. Some people don't do that. Some people like building with steps in mind as they're building. I can't build like that. I feel like it slows me down. But you know, you can make instructions this way. Trying to think of what else. So yeah, you got your preferences for the whole application. A model thing you can do when you do model. There's some things in here. Oh, wait. Yeah, let's do this. You can get model info, and this pulls from Bricklink. So this will tell you how much something is, how many of them you have, the names of it, the pieces. It'll give you some physical information, which is kind of useful sometimes if you're doing a big model and someone's like, how tall is that? It needs to fit in a certain space. So you say, oh, it's 14 inches tall. That kind of stuff. You can also upload your parts list to Bricklink. I hope I didn't. No, I did change my password. You can sign on this way, and in order to upload them here, you can do a want list. You can create a want list, and it should open a new web page. And you can say create new want list, and we'll call this one Rockbreaker, and then it'll go to verify it. Don't worry about this. This is just XML markup. You come through and say yes, verify all that, add it to want list, and now you can view your want list and do whatever you need to do. Buy the pieces, reference them to see which pieces you need, that kind of thing. So that's helpful. You can also upload to Studio, which I've never done because I don't want Bricklink to have rights to my stuff. I don't know what this is. I think it's a share feature. It doesn't highlight, so I don't know what it does. Oh, sign out. Okay, well, I've signed out. The other thing in model is reference image. So I had a reference image somewhere. Did I download it? Yeah. So reference image, you can pull in an actual image, and Vabs used this a lot when he was doing the Project Horizon rocketry stuff, and you can have it kind of be a reference for like how you're building it. Like if you wanted to build, you want to build basically on top of something. So you don't have to kind of guess the scale or guess the size or where things go. You can use a reference image. I also use this to put an image in the background for me to render against. So I put, when I did, let's see if I can find it. Designs. Renders. So I did this. I put like a cloudy background image behind it, and then when I rendered it, it had that image back there. So I was able to kind of, put a background image to the render. It's a really neat. It's a useful tool, especially if you're like doing like 1 to something scale and you want it to be as close to it as you possibly can. You can put that reference image in it, and it's very helpful. That way it keeps you from kind of bouncing back and forth and looking at stuff like I do. The only reason I do it is because I need different angles. Like I don't know what the top looks like here, but I can kind of tell how big this is going to be. Like I know that's probably a little big, so I can stretch this out a little bit and say, it meets the paw size and the head size, and it lines up right about there. So yeah, you can use this as a tool. And I mean, we look like we're pretty on target. That's pretty close, right? So I occasionally come back to that. The problem is it kind of gets in the way if you spin around one side of it. So anyway, that's cool. That's there. There's some orientation views that I like to use if I'm doing builds and I want to kind of build from the bottom up, and I want to select from a level up and hide it so I know what pieces I'm working with. Your number pad on your keyboard, if you hit your number pad keys, it will set an orientation straight on. You won't get like an isometric view of it or an angled view of it. You can just hit these keystrokes and it will like bring, bird's eye view, front view, top view, right, left, that kind of thing. That's helpful. You also have, let's see, there's some other stuff here. Parts designer won't get into. There's some like software bits here where you can hide or dock certain tools. Your right click functions will also bring up a menu of things to do. So if you've selected a part and you right click on it, you can copy, cut, paste, delete, replace, and replace will bring up a menu of other pieces that you can look at, right? You can also do a submodel. So if I've selected, let's say I want this whole thing, this whole paw right here to be one piece, I can right click on it and do submodel create. There's a keystroke for that, Control G, and it will ask you submodel name. I generally don't name them anything. You say, okay. Now you can see the bounding boxes around that whole thing, and that acts like one piece now, right? You can release it afterwards. If you think you've messed up, you can do submodel release, and it'll release into its constituent parts. Add to palette. This really isn't like anything that you would really worry about unless you were creating, like what Bricklink sometimes does is say they have contests, they have build contests where they give you a limited palette and you can build something out of that, like a Christmas tree or something. And so they will have a link to a palette you can download, and you can come over here and insert. There we go. Thank you. And you can load that palette in here. You can have a custom palette. You can see lug bulk. We put a lug bulk palette in here at one point because we wanted to build something, the Mars base, based off only available parts from lug bulk. You can see a Bricklink common palette, ideas pick a brick palette. Like there's the Bricklink designer program. It's got a bunch in here. It'll only let you use certain pieces, right? So if you don't find a 1x3 modified something, that's because it doesn't exist in that offering. You can't use it. So that's what palettes are for. Give you it kind of constrains your part selection. Pan to cursor used to be called set to center or something like that. It basically means when you're looking at a model and you right click on your mouse and grab a hold and spin it, there's a focal point that it spins around. It used to be called something else, and now it's called pan to cursor. So now the whole view is centered around this piece, which means if I go over here and try to rotate with my right mouse, it's still rotating around this piece, right? Actually, it should have. I don't know why it didn't. Pan to cursor. Oh, I see. Now it's panning around cursor. Got it. Okay. So I think that's an on or off. Oh, that's weird. So that's an on or off. That's a kind of weird thing, Vab. Did you notice that? I think it's an on or off, so it should have a check. And then there's reset camera origin. That'll just kind of put it at the beginning and put the center of the thing. I think it was pan to origin or reset origin. Whatever it was, now it's like if you do pan to cursor, like, so if am I over here and then I move over here and move it, it's still moving around the cursor. That's weird. It's supposed to get it to, like, if you drag around an area, it'll pan around. See, now it's doing it over here somewhere. I think it's buggy. It'll basically allow you to move around that certain focal point. Scroll button on your mouse zooms in and out. Right click and hold does the spinny thing, so you can rotate around your model. If you hold shift and do that with your right, instead of spinning, it'll drag. So hold shift and do this, it'll drag. Right click again does this, select box. Shift and hold any mouse click button will do this drag. So just keep that in mind. Control also lets you, if you hold down control, you can select multiple bricks. I don't know what alt does. Really, nothing. Every time you click on a brick, you get, let's go back over here. Oh, it sometimes does this. I have to wait for a second. Save this. Yeah, I don't know why it does this. It goes way far away, and then after a second, it'll like zoom in on it. Yeah, there we go. It's goofy. There is other features that when you click on it, it gives you this little pop up right here. It tells you can move this in space. This is called I think it's a holdover from CAD programs where it's called activate buffer something. Active buffer something, and it basically means you can move it up and down by clicking on these arrows, right? So if you clicked, I thought it did. It has to be disconnected, maybe. So if you click on that, it should allow you to move that in space. Thought it did. Huh. Okay, well maybe it doesn't. Buffer exchange, that's what it was. Anyway, and then the other one will give you the rotating around kind of thing, the same thing as we had with control or with H. When you hit H, you get the same thing. There are other functions for things like hoses. If you get a flexible piece of hosing and it's got this little hose icon here, if you put this piece of hose down here, you get another option. Yeah, isn't that weird? It should be working. Like, I thought that was supposed to be the point of this. Maybe, I don't know. If you get this other icon, that means this thing is allowed to be bent. So you can click on that, and now you have an icon that's got a little circle on it to be bent. You can now drag and bend these hoses into a shape that physics and the real world piece do not allow. I would not use that much at all. So left click, trick, drag. Oh, that's okay. That's great. So that allows you to do it a little more smoothly. You can already click and drag it. I guess if you wanted to specifically go up and move it without it jumping around to other pieces, maybe. I would just assume use the arrow keys, but that's just me. Yeah, so there's a flexible tool for things that can be flexed. It's kind of weird. I wouldn't use it too much. You can also, when you click on the end of a tube piece, it's a little square around that tube end, you can use your keys to rotate it. If you wanted that piece to like face another direction for another clip or something. So that you can do that, but you can see it kind of goes wildly everywhere and it's very fluid and it doesn't really understand that a rigid hose really only has about 90 degrees of bend before it really kind of, doesn't work anymore. So, I'm sure there's more. There's functions in the step list over here. There's functions in the colors, that we didn't get to. There's information down here at the bottom. It tells you the brick number, average cost, the size. There's things down here called find alternate bricks that will load up stuff here in the palette. It'll find compatible bricks, which will load up stuff in the palette. It will copy and mirror. Does a great thing where instead of having to copy it, paste it, turn it around, it will create an exact opposite on the other side. So that's very useful. Other than that, I think that's kind of a rush through half-hour tutorial of Bricklink. And now I expect you to go download it and do some stuff with it. So yeah, there you go. I'm not going to save this. If you ever have any questions about anything, Bab's really good at it. I'm in it almost every day, trying to do stuff. So just ask. We'll be here for you. Yeah, so that's it for today. I hope you guys have a good New Year's Eve and a good New Year's Day tomorrow. Hope you're off and get some rest and relaxation and don't party too hard tonight. And if you do party too hard, make sure you got a designated driver or take an Uber. Don't drink and drive. Don't drive like my brother. And that's it. So I will see you guys on Thursday. I don't think I have any new sets to build. I'm trying to offload some more cars. So keep an eye on eBay or whatever else that I've got. I probably won't have any new sets for a little bit because holidays suck for everybody in terms of money, right? We all know that. I got a couple gift with purchases. I could probably build a couple older sets from the past if I want to build stream. So otherwise, we'll just keep working on this. And you guys have a wonderful. Don't drive like my brother. I love it. I miss that show so much. Yeah. So happy New Year. I will talk to you guys in the new year, hopefully this Thursday, and we'll talk to you soon.